was cancelling the last 4 days of advertising because the chairman, Cecil Parkinson, decided there was no need to do it since we were so far ahead and so unlikely to lose the election. I think they were still deeply embedded in a concept of politics that had long gone by. And they were also, they eschewed all modern presentation techniques as gimmicks and misleading the public and so on. They regarded our industry, the advertising industry, and for that matter the public relations industry, as being some kind of mouthpiece of the devil.
As the campaign progressed, attention focused on Neil Kinnock. Michael Foot's time in office was clearly drawing to its close, and Kinnock was ready to step into the limelight.
Even though I was a member of whatever committee it was called, that was supposed to meet every day to discuss the ongoing state of the election, I don't think I went to more than 4 or 5 of those meetings, because I after the first couple I thought, hell, I'm better out in the street. And so I got behind the wheel of the car, fixed my own program, and off I went, rampaging around the country. It wasn't self-indulgent. My presence in London would have been completely redundant, as I think most people's was.
Much of the election was a preparation for Neil becoming a candidate. Michael thought of Neil as his favourite political son, a great affection between them. And Michael was clearly doing his best to prepare the way for Neil. Key meetings that Michael pulled out at the last moment, messages went that Neil was available. I have absolutely no complaint about this. This is just what happened. Neil started his campaign the night before the election result was known by a wonderful speech which appeared on television. He had the good luck of having his count on the Friday morning. He therefore had a meeting, quite unnecessarily in terms of winning votes, on the Thursday evening. It was the meeting that got on all television programmes while we were waiting for the result, and it was a brilliant speech.
Margaret Thatcher wins on Thursday. I warn you not to be ordinary. I warn you not to be young. I warn you not to fall ill. And I warn you not to grow old.
Now, I had said to 1 or 2 very close friends that in a particular set of circumstances, if we lost the election, I would have to run. But I frankly hoped those circumstances wouldn't arise. I thought my mind would be made up for me.
But on the day of polling, Thursday the 9th of June 1983, not even the most optimistic Labour politician had any hope of victory.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our final press conference.
I remember the last press conference. I'm always at the last press conferences of doomed election. In Transport House, Michael coming and saying goodbye to us. And because I have a silly sense of humour, saying, I hope on Saturday morning you won't keep me waiting very long. I hope you'll phone straight away to say I'm going to be Home Secretary. And sort of hysterical laughter went round the room. They weren't laughing at my joke. It wasn't a very good joke. They were laughing at the absurdity, the bizarre quality of the suggestion that we might possibly win the general election. And that was the spirit throughout the campaign.
Yes.
How are you? Nice to see you.
It was a nightmare, the 83 election. At the beginning of the election period, our cry against Margaret Thatcher was that she'd cut and run. By the end of the election, I was secretly praying and regretting that she hadn't cut and run some more, because had that election gone on for another week, we would have come third. There is no doubt about it. Our votes were dissolving like snow in the sunshine.
There it is, going blue just about everywhere, sweeping the country. The rural parts of Britain now have gone blue. There are only 2 Labour seats.
The election results confirmed the party's worst fears. Under Michael Foot's leadership, Labour won only 209 seats. Margaret Thatcher increased her majority to 144, a landslide. There was one important consolation. Labour hung on as the main opposition party and beat the SDP Liberal Alliance into second place.
I'm not making any comment until we hear the real results, you know, and of course I'll be happy to comment then, and I think that's much the most sensible course for us to take.
Do you fear a Conservative?
The worst time when I woke up at night was when the actual result came through, and it was a terrible result, even worse than I'd feared or most people had prophesied, and some of my closest friends were defeated at that election, defeated no doubt because of their association with me, and so it was a very, very bitter moment, but it was bitter for the country and for the party as well, in my opinion.
But I'm not getting one at this moment, and you must understand that, and you mustn't continue to ask questions.
If you, as an opposition, after 4 years of Conservative government, actually lose 29 seats, if you are down to your lowest total since the 1935 election, if you are down to the lowest proportion per Labour candidate of the popular vote ever, it seems to me that's quite a bad defeat.
I think that history will say, and judging Michael Foot, that no, he had no chance whatever of becoming Prime Minister of Britain, of winning a general election, and that his contribution, such as it was to prevent the Labour Party from having a still more serious split than in fact took place.
Anthony Neil Wedgwood Benn, Labour, 18,055.
It was also said of Michael Foot that by the size of his defeat, he ensured that Tony Benn could not succeed him, leaving the way clear for Neil Kinnock. For Benn lost his seat in Bristol, and only an elected MP can stand for the leadership. But after the years of struggle, Benn felt he had no cause for regret.
Not one little bit. I would have been utterly ashamed if I had followed the course of Neil Kinnock, given up everything he believed in order to get the leadership, and then at the end find, having done so, nobody believed a word you said. I have no regrets whatever. I made mistakes, but they were mistakes made because I believed what I was saying at the time, not because I was manoeuvring or manipulating for some position for myself.
As expected, Neil Kinnock was elected leader of the Labour Party at the conference in October 1983. Kinnock, a self-styled radical, had grasped the torch from his friend and mentor, Michael Foot, also a man of the left. Yet over the years to come, Kinnock would lead his party on a fraught and difficult journey to the right. In his youthful enthusiasm, he'd come to believe that this was the only way out of the political wilderness. But the ultimate prize would never be his.
We got together in the evening, and the best way to manifest a sort of victorious joy was to sing. And so we sang. I suppose it's either very British or very Welsh, probably more Welsh. In times of celebration and mourning, at times of disaster and possible triumph, to resort to singing.
Avanti populo e la patroni, rivoluzioni trionferà. Rivoluzioni e trionferà. Rivoluzioni e trionferà. Rivoluzioni e trionferà. Oh, viva il socialismo e la libertà. Populo e Mussolini, e Mussolini, e Mussolini, avanti populo e Mussolini, e Mussolini, Sapigherà!
Tomorrow evening, Tony Benn takes